Going on, everybody? Kris here, the Real Estate Blitz. And, I did a video from Rashawn, the realtor, question that he had sent me. And then he sent a follow-up question, and I left it out on accident. So, and the thing is, this is so relevant as far as the follow-on question that I want to talk about it. So, first off, he was talking about he's getting into cold calling. He's cold calling now. He's doing all that. And he's going after expireds and cancels, which is great. But he said, how many contacts should I shoot for a day? Right now, I'm averaging about 15 to 18 over a single line dialer. Rashawn, this is the best way, or for really anybody that's watching this. How many people should you be contacting every day when you make cold calls? I'd hate to answer the question with a question, but the first question I typically would ask is, well, have you been analyzing all of your calls? Hopefully you say yes. Okay, since you've been analyzing it, how many contacts do you have to make in order to get a deal? Okay, hopefully you know. So let's stop there real quick. Let's go back and talk about those first two things so I can get to the very last thing. So are you analyzing? This is what you should be doing every time you do a call session. You should be writing down how many calls did I make, my start time, my stop time. The reason why you want to do your start time and stop time is you want to see how many people did I contact within certain time blocks, because you're in your market, my market, I know when the good time blocks are to call. I know when I'm going to get the most contact. Not only that, but I also know, depending on what I'm calling, because I don't always cold call expireds and canceled. I cold call cell phones. I cold call lawyers. I cold call absentee owners. I cold call a lot of different stuff, right? So I want to know when I start and when I stop, and how many contacts did I make, and how many phone calls did I make within that time block. Okay, I want to know how many times I left a message. And some people say, don't ever leave a message. I leave messages. I get people that call me back. So I leave messages. But everybody has their own thing. So how many messages did I leave? How many people told me to go pound sand? And how many people were warm or said yes? Now, based off of that, how many appointments I got? I actually compile that data. I have it. Hold on one second. I'll show you. I keep it all right here. It's on my wall. I put it all on my wall. And that way I can look at it. So this is my start date, stop date. I have times, how long did I call? How long was my call session? When did I make the call start from, stop, and stop? How many calls did I make? How many contacts? How many messages? And I also do direct mail. So I have my direct mail. So while I'm making my calls, I do my direct mail at the same time. So that's on there. And then basically how many appointments or how many possible appointments did I get on there? After analyzing that information, so every month I sit down and I re-look over all of it. I put it into a database and I say, okay, I made X number of contacts and I got X number of appointments. So if for every 100 contacts I make, I get one appointment, then the question really isn't how many should you make per day. The question should be, how many deals do you want per month? Depending on how many deals you want per month, that's how many contacts you need to be making. And then you just sort that out. Okay, well, I'm making, Kris, I'm making 15 to 18 per day. Well, if you find during your analytics or you're analyzing everything that 100 contacts gives you one deal, well, then I would say, well, how many contacts can you get in a day? Well, can you get 100 contacts in a day? Because that would be great, right? So it just comes down to, what do you want? Okay, so to give you a simpler answer, if you haven't done the analytics, okay, 15 to 18, in my opinion, is not enough. It's not enough. You need to be contacting a minimum of 30 to 60 people per day. That's really where you need to be. So, just saying how many people contacted, I would like to know how many phone calls have you made. You should be crushing. If you don't have any deals, and I talk about this all the time, if you don't have any deals, I even do it. I'm sitting here, I don't have anything going on. I've been like booked with, so if you guys haven't noticed, I haven't been like posting a lot of videos because I've been booked with appointments. I've been nonstop. But if you don't have any appointments, you should be sitting here doing, and I got all my stuff right here. So it's not like I'm just talking about this stuff. I live it. So I'm doing direct mail while I'm making my cold calls. I'm doing my social media while I'm making my cold calls. And I let my call system just sit there and keep cranking through calls. And I've run through my script so many times that as soon as somebody picks up, I just run. So I'm doing direct mail. I'm doing my social media and dropping stuff. I'm going through and I'm setting up searches while I'm cold calling. So some people think that I'm going to, and here's the thing, you can't. I'm not telling you you can't. But some people think, well, I do my call block from this time to this time for 1 hour, and then I do other stuff. And you can't. Me, I'm doing everything. If I don't have a deal, I cold call all freaking day. I cold call 6 to 8 hours a day. I just keep freaking calling people. I just keep calling. I have thousands of numbers and I just keep calling. And while that's calling, I'm doing all of the other stuff that I've talked about between the 5 pillars, right? And we've talked about these things. So prospect cold calling, you have your follow-up call. So who were the people that were possibles and have you followed up with them? Are you doing direct mail? Are you doing social media every day? Are you doing open houses? Okay. Are you working your sphere of influence? Are you working this stuff? You can do all of this while you're still cold calling. So if you don't have a deal, there you are. Just freaking grind. So yeah, great question, Rashawn. Not just for you, but for anybody else that's listening. A, analyze. B, ramp it up. And C, 15 to 18. If you want to do a deal, it's not enough. Keep pushing, get more. Okay, that's all I got. Appreciate y'all. Have a good one. Bye.